Davion. I wanted to sit down with you during family worship. Kind of wanted to go over your presentation for the field ministry. I know, you being an unbaptized publisher now, and I know that your desire is to, maybe get a study. So I wanted to kind of go over a presentation from the Kingdom Ministry, go through it, and then maybe let's see how we can maybe put it in our own words, and then talk about some other things, okay?
All right.
So why don't we do that first? Why don't you pull up your presentation from the Kingdom Ministry for August 1st, and why don't we practice that real quick first?
Okay.
Yes?
Hello, we're visiting briefly to help our neighbors cope with a common problem. One of the most difficult things we have to deal with is the death of a loved one. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I can see that death is all around us.
It's interesting that you say that. Notice this encouraging promise from the Bible at Revelation 21:3 and 4. With that, I heard a loud voice from the throne say, "Look, the tent of God is with mankind, and he will reside with them, and they will be his people. And God himself will be with them, and he will wipe out every tear from their eyes, and death will be no more. Neither mourning, nor outcry, nor pain be any more. The former things have passed away."
Very interesting.
The Bible gives us hope that one day our dead loved ones will come back to life. This magazine explains how this will happen.
Okay. Well, that's very good. So that's a very good presentation. Really appreciate how you did that. But let's work on a few things. First, do you think maybe it would be a little bit easier if you kind of did it in your own words? Then that way you wouldn't have to look down at your phone or look down on some notes. Yeah, so we should maybe work on that. So maybe we should shorten it a little bit and maybe kind of tailor it so that it's easier for us to remember, so that we won't need any notes, right? One of the other things we can do is we want to make sure that in our presentation, the first thing we do is identify ourselves and what we're there for. Why do you think that is?
Because if you're going up there with no one knows what you're doing, then they're probably not going to be interested.
Yeah, so they're not going to give you an opportunity to even get into your presentation, right? And then also, too, we want to think about asking questions, because the more that they talk, it's better for us, right?
Yeah.
Right. The less we talk, the more they talk, the more we can gather information about them, right? So we want to allow for them to respond by asking questions, simple questions. And if we look on the front of that watchtower, there's a question posed right on the front of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can use that as part of our presentation, okay? So that would be a good way to kind of simplify things so that we can remember it. And then also that helps us to keep our eyes focused on who?
The householder.
Yeah, the householder. So we keep our heads up. Then when we're reading the scripture, we can share the scripture with the householder, right? They can see it from our Bible, right?
Right.
Right. So that helps all the way. So why don't we do that again? Why don't we redo that presentation? But this time, let's shorten it up. Make sure we identify ourselves, what we're there for. Make sure we are looking at our householder, and make sure we use the question. Don't be afraid to use the question on the front of the watchtower. It's there for a reason, right?
Right.
Right. And then make sure that we share the scripture, not just by reading it to them, but making sure that they're looking at the scripture with them, right? So let's try it one more time.
All right.
Hello?
Hello, my name's Davion. We're just out in the neighborhood asking our neighbors a question about whether life after death is possible.
You know what? I've always thought about that. My mother passed years ago, and I just don't know. I really don't know what's going to happen to people when they die. I've never been taught that.
Well, it's interesting that you say that. There's a scripture in the Bible at Revelation 21:3 and 4 that I like to show you. And it talks about life after death. Here's what it says. With that, I heard a loud voice from the throne say, "Look, the tent of God is with mankind, and he will reside with them, and they will be his people, and God himself will be with them. And he will wipe out every tear from their eyes, and death will be no more. Neither will mourning, nor outcry, nor pain anymore. The former things have passed away. So that just shows that there is a life after death soon, that God is going to bring about. And this here magazine goes into more detail about that.
You know, I would really be interested in reading more about that. Is it possible I can have that, Watchdog?
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, I would take that. And I'd really would like to read this, and you know, maybe if you could come back around this same time, I'd appreciate that.
All right.
All right. Well, that's very good. See how easy that was? You have more eye contact.
Yeah.
So we need that in the field ministry. We need to know whether the person is interested in what we're saying or not interested in what we're saying. The last thing, Davion, that I want to talk to you about is, and I know you've been out in field service many times with me, so you understand the importance of how we look, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, if we're dressed a certain way, why don't we want to dress in a way that detracts from the message?
Because, well, it's attracting from the message, and we're supposed to be preaching about the message.
Exactly. So if we are dressed in a way that maybe is not befitting someone that is a servant of Jehovah, then what does the person think we're there for?
Anything but preaching.
Exactly. Exactly. Anything but what we said we're there for, right?
Yeah.
So we don't want to detract from the message based on how we dress, right? And how we look. So let's go to 2 Corinthians 6, 3, and 4 real quick. And let's see what the scriptural application of that is. And I'm just going to read verse 3 and the first part of verse 4. Okay? It says, "In no way are we giving any cause for stumbling, so that no fault may be found with our ministry. But in every way we recommend ourselves as God's ministers." Now, did you notice there in that scripture, what do we not want to give cause for?
Stumbling.
Right. So how we look at the door could cause a person to not want to listen to what?
Our message.
Right. And then that defeats the purpose of what we're supposed to be there for, right?
Yeah.
Because we want to attract people. We do not want to detract. Okay? So, Davion, that's really good. I've looked forward to this Saturday, going out with you, going over this presentation, seeing you perform it, and really, you know, just seeing how you are growing and maturing. I really appreciate the progress you've made spiritually, and hopefully we can continue to go through some more things and watch you grow more. What do you think about that?
Sounds good.
All right.